everybody. My name is Kim Ross-Hollingsworth, and I am the founder of the Arts and Authors Extravaganza and Book Builders Academy, where we teach new and current authors how to write, publish, and market their books. Also, we provide a platform for authors and artists to showcase and sell their work. And this year, we are celebrating our 12th year. And we're going to be at the DoubleTree Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey on August 20th, Sunday, August 20th. And it's from 3 to 8 p.m. And the website for that will be posted at the bottom of this video. And the website is bit.ly/arts and authors 2023. And the purpose of this podcast is to, just learn a little bit more about authors and artists that I've come in contact with that has either graced the stage of the Arts and Authors Extravaganza or that I've come in contact with and just want to know a little bit more about them. So tonight, with Arts and Authors Talk, I have Dr. Rachel Slaughter, and I am going to bring her on right now.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, friend. How you doing?
How you doing?
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I had to have you on, especially, since, you're doing great things. You're doing big things out there. And I just wanted everyone to see exactly what you were doing. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a veteran educator. I've been a teacher for 30 years. I've been married for 31 years, right? Actually, my husband has COVID, and so I've been doctoring for him. And I have two lovely young ladies. They are not children anymore. I have a 25-year-old and a 22-year-old. So that means I'm old, right?
No, because I'm older. I have a 32, 31, and a 19-year-old. So no, I'm older.
Turn their ages back because I'm like, listen, y'all making me old. This is crazy.
It is the truth.
But it's a good life. It's a good life. Yeah, all is well.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And they grow fast. But at least you're not a grandmom yet, though, are you?
No, not yet. And you know what? My oldest talks about it. She's prepping me. You know what I mean? Because you're 25 is 25, and nobody's crazy. We know that children are in the future, and that's cool. I'm just trying to think of my little grandmom name. What are they gonna call me? I really want to be Sparkle. I want to be Sparkle.
Well, I said Glam Mom.
I like that. I love it.
They call me Grandmom.
Yeah. I called my grandparents Gramps, both of them. Gramps 1 and Gramps 2. My grandfather and grandmother. Yep.
Yes, I don't really care because I'm a grandmom. So who cares?
It is what it
whatever. If I'm a grandmom, I'm a grandmom. There's
no it is
special name for it. There's, it is what it is.
It is what it is. And actually, you look phenomenal. So it doesn't even matter if they're calling you grandma because you just as cute as ever. So it don't mean you're old. Yeah.
That's why I don't even care.
Right.
And we should know this, especially when we have our children in our 20s, our early 20s. You're going to have,
yes,
you possibly may have grandkids at an early age.
Yes, that's right. So, and in some ways, that's good because you got all the vibrancy to do stuff, really right? Good. All the energy.
Yeah. At the time, I wasn't so satisfied. I wasn't thinking it was all fine and dandy. But now, at 52, and I have my grandkids, it's like, I love it.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. That's awesome. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and for anybody who's watching out there, because we are on several platforms, grandkids are better than regular kids. Like, no, I'm kidding.
It's true though. Well, one thing, you can give them back to their owners. That's the first.
And you can.
That's the number one reason.
Then give them back.
I love it. I know I'm gonna be the same way. Have all the ice cream you want.
That's it. ice cream and candy. My daughters get
I
so
love
mad
it.
at me. They're like,
Yeah,
Mom,
I'm
why are you
sure.
doing that? Or if they tell them that they can't have something, here's grandmom and pop. Here you go.
Yeah. Yes.
It's
Yes.
the
Yes.
worst.
That's
It's the
phenomenal.
worst. We're bad. But
Hmm.
yes. So we met how many years ago?
Wow.
Do you remember?
Kim, has it been at least 6 years? Probably more than
Long
that.
time ago. Long time
Because
ago.
yeah, I was at one of your arts festivals. What year was
Yes.
that?
I can't even listen. We're
And it was
celebrating our 12th year. I can't
beautiful.
even remember. And don't even get me
No.
the line because I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, let
Yeah,
alone
how
get
about it? And it was beautiful. And then we did another event. We were together at another event in
hmm
Jersey at the Arts Garage. Do you
Yes.
remember that?
That was
That
with
was
Raymond.
beautiful.
With
Hmm.
Raymond, right?
Yep.
Raymond
Hmm.
Tyler. And
Yes.
I think it was, I don't know. I believe you came to like what, a couple of the arts and authors,
Yes. Uh-huh.
you
And I'll be
know.
there this year in
I
August.
know. Last year was
Phenomenal.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
We had
We had a good
so
time.
much fun. It for some reason it just, and I know it just gets better and better every
It
year.
does. Well, the camaraderie that you pull together, right, is just heartwarming, really.
Oh,
Because
thank
honestly, a
you.
lot of these authors have never had that much exposure, right, to be
Right.
able to congregate with other authors and
Exactly.
also read their work and get
True.
prizes and get their picture taken with their books. It's just a
It's so
beautiful
true.
festival. Hmm.
And that's, I think that's what this whole thing is about.
Yeah,
This whole thing is about, and you know, some people, they look at things as it, they look at things in the wrong manner, I think. Some people think that, okay, so someone have this event and then there's someone else that have the same exact event.
right.
There's enough room for all of us. There's enough
True.
room for all of us. You don't have
Yeah,
to feel slighted, you don't have to get jealous, you don't.
yeah,
There's a room for everyone.
I agree. Hmm.
But
Totally
I've
agree.
lost friends that thought that I was competition for them.
Yes.
And I'm like, no, it's not competition. We're all doing the same thing, but
Beautiful.
we have a different spin on everything.
Hmm. Hmm. And a
I'm
different
actually,
energy too, a different
and a
vibe.
different
Mhm.
energy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
But
Because I
we
know
all
plenty
just
of
got to
book
keep doing it.
promoters who are not, who aren't as friendly, who aren't as giving, right? You're one that's very different. Many of the book promoters and book agents and all the people that I know in the industry, not so friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not so friendly. Yeah.
I,
Hmm.
and you know what? I call them book smart instead of like
They're not
having
people
common
smart.
sense, or just, and I'm not even talking about street smart, but it's like common sense. Just that's all
Mhm.
I'm saying, common sense.
Sure. I totally agree. I totally agree. Just your idea right there of saying there's enough for everybody is a total change.
Yeah,
Most people don't think that way. No, you're
I
right.
know. I know. And it's sad.
It
Now, when
is.
did you first become an author? And what, when you first got into this whole thing?
Right, right. So, oh my gosh, Kim, like for real, about 1995, I published a book called Roxie's Mirage.
Mhm.
And it was about a young girl who grew up in North Philly who accidentally got involved with drugs. Somebody
Okay.
had laid an LSD sticker on her hand and it got into her skin. Anyway, it was
Wow.
always a sob story I heard growing up. I
Yes.
came up with that story after hanging out with some people when I was very young at my grandmother's in North Philly, right?
Yes.
And I used to hang out with this group of girls, and they were, when I tell you, they were all over the place, wreaking
Wow.
havoc back in the 80s. So that story and that group stayed in my head for many years. And then in 95, I wrote the book.
Wow.
And the little girl that I knew back then, her name was Roxanne. So I
Mhm.
made her the main character. And that book was published by a little publishing company called Fruits for Knowledge Press that's been
Wow.
defunct for many years ago. But
Mhm.
it was amazing because at that time, right, there weren't any books with people of color in them. Very few, right? So when my book came out, people like Steve Powers, who was a graffiti artist back in the 80s and 90s,
Uh-huh.
and some other notable characters and writers back then started to endorse that book.
Wow.
That book was then picked up by Amazon. Hold on. What's really funny is people don't remember Amazon used to be a bookstore before it was online.
No. Yeah.
So they picked up my book in 95 and promoted my book. It has been on Amazon since that day. It's never been taken off.
Wow.
You can Google
That-
Roxie's Mirage on Amazon right now and it will pop up. That
Wow.
book has been a part of Amazon all those years.
That's amazing.
It is. It's
That's
so amazing.
Now, were you teaching at the time? Like,
I
what
was.
made you come up with that book? I mean, well, you said because you lived in North Philly and so forth.
Yeah.
But
My grandmother lived in North Philly.
why
Hung up
did
with those kids.
Why did you feel you had to write about it?
Well, for one thing, as I started teaching, when I first landed my first job at Transfiguration in Philadelphia, I met a lot of young people who didn't know how to read. Really, that was really the crux of the situation. They were low readers, unmotivated readers, and the biggest thing that they came to me with is we've never read a full book before.
Wow.
We've never read a book from cover to cover before. Well, reading is my entire life. So
Yeah.
let me write you a book that you can read from cover to cover. Say
That's
no
it.
more. And that's what I did,
That
right?
they
I
can
wrote
relate to.
a 70-page book. Yep. That was the most popular work that I've ever done, right? Including all the other works that I've done in research and textbooks. Roxie's Mirage is one of my most popular works that people remember me for.
Something?
Yeah, that was a good move on my part to do that. And I think more writers need to think about that. It's not about so much the quantity of pages
Yes.
as it is the quality, right?
There you go.
And getting
I
the
preach
kids
that
motivated.
all the time. And the reason why I preach that is because nobody has the time to read these long, drawn out books anymore.
Seriously.
They don't have the time.
Yes.
And I find shorter reads are more beneficial than longer books, period.
Yes.
As long as you can get your point across.
Absolutely. And what's really sad, although I love them a lot, many years ago, I had met Kwame Alexander, right? He's a very famous author right now. He's got plenty of books out there. But he was dismayed that my book was so short.
Yes.
And he was like, why have you only written a few pages here? But my goal was to get the kids excited about reading a book from cover to cover.
You have
from that day to this, he still makes fun of me for having such a short book, but it did what it was supposed to do. That's
successful for you. I think it's important because if you're trying to promote literacy, first of all, they don't want to read. Second of all, if you give them something that's thick, they're not going to read it. They're not going to read it. Yeah. So shorter reads is so much better.
And to be really honest with you and completely transparent, I don't think I can write a fiction book any longer than that.
I can't.
I'm not a fiction writer.
And I'm not even going to say I can't. I don't want to.
I don't. Right. Seriously, it's not my forte. I'll leave it to somebody else. I got my forte. I already know what my forte is. It's not writing stories. It's not writing novels.
I agree. Now, when you were younger, did you ever think that you would become a writer?
I did.
You did?
I did. Yeah, I did. That was listen, Kim, listen. I wanted to be a writer so bad because I had a writer in my family, right? Who had made a living from writing. And I thought to myself, you know what? I could do that. And I
Really?
used to read so much, I thought I could really make something happen, right? So I
Wow.
told my mom, listen, get me a typewriter. She did. She got me one of them electric ones, the brown.
Yes.
It was brown and it had this tape. You know how you have the electric
I
tape in
remember.
there and
I remember.
you had to put the cartridges in there. I would
Yup.
stay up all night and type all night
What?
long. And my dad was a printer. So he would bring home reams of paper, reams of paper. And at the time, we were getting paper on rolls. So he would give me a big old roll of pink paper, obviously paper that nobody else wanted. And I would rip it off and put it in my typewriter and type up these stories. And literally, I cannot tell you how many hours I would write and just keep writing. And it was a
That's
passion
amazing.
of mine. Definitely a
Yeah.
passion.
Because
Hmm.
I never, even though I've written 11 books, it wasn't a
Yeah.
dream of mine.
Oh,
I didn't, I read a lot.
okay. Right.
I love
Hmm.
books, love to read,
Yeah.
but it
Yeah.
wasn't a dream. I just
Yeah.
experienced life, at an early age.
So
And
that's
and then by me being married 3 times before the age of 40,
yeah.
I just felt I had a story.
Yes. Hmm.
So, excuse me. So my thing is, especially with readers out there and people in general, I
Hmm.
always, try to I tell people everybody have a story.
Yes.
And if
It's
you have
true.
a story, there's something that you could possibly teach somebody else,
Mhm.
to where they don't have to go down the same road that you've gone through.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
maybe you could, if you change at least one person's life, then you did your job.
Yes. Hmm.
And that's just how I think about this whole thing. And I call it the author life.
Author
I think,
life.
and you know what? Artists as well.
Oh,
Because
100%.
I think the whole thing is art, because you're painting the picture, especially when you're
Yes.
writing and or doing
Yes.
painting or artistry or whatever, however you want to say it.
Right.
You're
Absolutely.
still painting a picture,
Right.
telling a
Yes. And
story.
people feel like it is such an amazing accomplishment, but in reality, it's just another form of art,
There
right?
you go.
Writing a book is just another form of art. And
That's
there's
it.
art in lots of different walks of life. There's
Yes,
art in the way you teach. Teaching
that's
is an
it.
art,
Everything is
right?
an art.
Coaching is an art. So really in lots of ways, everything you do is an
Is
art
an
if you
art.
put your heart into it and put your
Yep,
mind, body, and soul into it. And
I
that's
agree.
definitely what I've done with writing over the
I
years.
agree.
Yeah.
Now, how
Yeah.
many books have you written all together?
So I wrote Roxy's Mirage in 95, and then it took me
Do you have that book in
until
front of you? Oh, yes.
2020. No, this one is my Daddy Read to Me book, which was published in 2020. And so from 95 to 2020, that's how long it took me to write this next book because I was doing so much reading and so much research and going to school. So I took a
Yes.
break. But this book became another really good resource for Black men because it teaches men how to be a reading mentor to their children, right?
Mm,
So Daddy Read to Me was another big accomplishment for me because I got the word out there that um, the research says if a man reads a book, right, to a child, whether male or female child, the child jumps in reading and literacy abilities
mm,
faster and stronger than if a woman were to read to the
mhm.
child. Now, here's the thing. We're as women, we know we are the number one reading mentors.
Yes.
The problem becomes once your child, male or female, begins to think of reading as a woman's chore or a
Yes.
woman's hobby, lots of boys stop. They don't want to do
Yes.
it anymore after the fourth
Yep.
grade. They're like, that's a right.
Yep.
Some girls say the same thing. I'm not doing that. That's a girl's thing. That's for my mama. I want to do something else.
Yep.
But because men are natural leaders, right? As if they stay the reading mentor and they do it with confidence and fidelity, they could make a reader out of anybody
Yes,
just by carrying a book around, because we are prone as people to follow the male.
I
And
agree.
that's in some ways, women have come back to me, written me letters. Telling me that that's a sexist statement. It's not
not.
sexist.
You know
It's
why?
research.
I believe exactly what you're saying, because, and I'm going to state two different scenarios. Like some people, and I hate to hear this. I really do. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I'm going to tell your daddy. I'm going to tell
Yes,
your daddy.
that is
So
that's
basically,
my
what you
peeve.
just did was you just taught your child not to listen to you, because you always saying, I'm going to get daddy. So why not? If you're
Yes,
reading to the child, why wouldn't you think that they're going to listen? And they probably start reading from that, because of the fact that
yes,
they know to listen to dad.
absolutely, absolutely. And so lots of women have come to me to try to promote women as reading mentors. I'm already clear that the women are the reading mentors.
And
I'm already
we
clear
know
that
that.
women are reading leaders. I'm saying you have to relinquish that power to the
That's
male
it.
in the family so that the child can see reading
Yes.
as a male and female
And
activity,
female. Because
right?
a lot of men won't read. They won't read. You
I'm
know,
not making that
back in the
up.
day, it was only the paper. Now it's the cell phones. But you
Yes,
hardly ever see a man pick up a book. My dad
absolutely.
was a reader. I didn't know a whole lot about my father, but I do know for a fact that anytime you saw my father, you saw a book in his hand or a book in his back pocket.
And look what happened to you.
And look what happened to me. But I can't say
That's
that
a
for all my
perfect
brothers and sisters.
example. No, I get it. Yeah, yeah.
But only certain ones pick up those same characteristics.
100%.
You know,
100%.
and
So
I
I get
saw a book
pushback.
every time.
Yes. I get pushback. Women will say to me, well, I don't have a male in the house. Okay, that
I
doesn't
didn't
mean that the
either.
research is not true.
My mom was a single mother, but I saw that. I saw before they split up. I did see that, and then I for some reason, it's just every time I came in contact with them, you know, not often, but I saw a book.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And so you have to associate, you have to see the book with the man and the man with the book and begin to associate men with reading. Right now, we do not associate men with reading, right? We
It's so
often
funny.
say, oh, men don't read. Oh, that's not their thing. That is a misnomer. That's incorrect, right?
That's it.
So if you don't have a male in the home, so you find an uncle, so you get a
That's it.
cousin, so you go to the library, so you go to the barber shop, so you go you just got to work a little
Yes,
harder, but you got to get the
exactly.
men in your life who read so that your children can see that it's not just a female activity.
That's right. And you know what else? That it brings me to another point. You do TV.
Yeah.
That's another thing. These
Yeah.
podcasts.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I find men are looking at these podcasts. Women are
Yes.
looking at these podcasts.
Yeah.
It's it's like a book. You have a book,
Yeah.
but you're watching it. You're reading it.
Yes.
It's just another, like you said, it's another form of getting your information. Just put it that way.
Yes, getting the information out there. Sure, definitely, 100%. Yeah, everything doesn't have to be in an actual book form, but
Yes.
the acquisition of information, you
Yes.
have to see males doing that, right?
You have to see it.
Sharpening their literacy skills by reading,
Yes.
by writing, by speaking, by listening to podcasts.
That's it.
But the intellectual activity has to come from the male at some point.
I
We
agree.
can't just as women keep saying, oh, you know what? he's not a reader. Or, my man
Yes.
is not a reader, that he's destined, that's not what he does. But we have to stop
Yep.
saying things like that.
Yep. You got to. And then not only that, doing homework assignments with these kids
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
stuff, you know,
Mhm.
just getting them involved with
Yeah.
certain things that that it was all on the mom most of the time.
Right. But you know what, Kimberly? Let me tell you this. Even when males are in the home, we are so territorial
Yes.
when it comes to children that
True.
sometimes we won't even relinquish bedtime reading to the dad, and he's right there.
And he's
Right?
right there.
He's right
Yeah.
there.
I agree.
And the books are, let's say it's a kindergarten book or a first
I
grade
agree.
book, or we're not asking you to read War and Peace.
Yes.
It's a bedtime story.
And the bedtime story is only what, 10 pages?
10 pages. Let the man read
It's
it.
majority pictures.
Even if he made up a story and just had the book in his hand, he'd be doing good.
That's it.
Right?
That's
Like
it.
what? Yeah. So
That's
we're
it.
territorial as women and readers. We really don't want to relinquish this part of our womanhood or motherhood,
True.
but we have to.
We
We have to.
And we need to start today.
Today. That's my soapbox.
Yes. Now, question for you. When did you get into, okay, so give us like the different steps that you went through, like as an author, and then what you're doing, like as far as the TV, and how did you get into it?
Yeah. So I started TV back in the 90s, right? So actually, Roxie's Mirage once again opened up a road for me, because when I was teaching public school in the Reading School District, that's when the book came out. Visions with Vernon Odom came and interviewed me at my school, right? And so I was on Channel 6, and that was a big deal. And so once all of that flurry happened, right, I became like a little small town sensation. Then the local cable station gave me a television show. It was called Right More, Right Now, and it was on Berks County Television.
Wow.
Well, if you didn't think I was Oprah, I mean, I knew I was Oprah on BCTV, honey, because this was before all the podcasts and everything, Kimberly, right?
All that.
And I had a full studio with all the lights and cameras and everything. BCTV was the thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is my own set. I had a little poster behind me and the big lights on me. And I had a show. It ran for 6 years.
Wow.
Ran for 6 years. Yeah, BCTV. Wow. And every episode they would send me a VHS of the show that I did. I must got VHS tapes stacked up like this now, at this moment in my attic of those shows. That was the highlight of my career.
You can actually turn those into DVDs.
I know. I have to do it. I'm just so afraid to give them to somebody.
You better,
because I'm like, where's my stuff? I interviewed all kinds of people.
That's amazing.
It was. I'll tell you, I had the best time. My last episode, my last season, they gave me an outdoor camera crew. Wow. And I was able to go out on the streets with my camera crew.
That is
girl, you talk about the highlight. So I've been chasing that high for years, right? And I continued doing that work through writing journalism, different stories. I have a syndicated column. And now I kept the television show going, but under a different name,
Yes.
And my cousin David Fuller helps me with kind of pulling all this together and making sure. Right? Yes. Okay. Yeah, he's been my cameraman and my production person for many, many years. What? I can't cross the street without David saying, "I'm going to film that."
I love him. I do.
Film that
because he's so awesome, and
he is. He really is.
Here too.
Yeah. I will. I definitely will. He asks about you all the time. I definitely will. And so he has done a phenomenal job of pulling all of my footage together because he's
Yes.
going to write a documentary at some point.
That's
But
awesome.
we're both in that kind of field. He
Yes.
loves that work, to do, camera work. He loves it.
Yes.
Production.
So what is your show called now? Tell everybody what your show is called now, because I was featured on that.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I couldn't wait to put your face up there. That's what got me all my viewers. So I have a syndicated column. No, it's true. I have a syndicated column, and it's called The Reading Quilt. And it runs in different newspapers and magazines across the country. And Philly Cam asked me, hey, would you consider doing a show, right? So that's how I became a part of Philly Cam. It comes on every Monday night at 3:30. And like I said, it's a column where I review books, but then I ask that author to come on my show of the same name, The Reading Quilt. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm.
And then there's a couple of people that I know, Narda for one.
Yes.
She was on your show.
Well, she was the show. Narda is amazing. She's a chef out this world.
Yes, she is.
And she actually used to be my neighbor. And she has an amazing personal chef company.
Yeah.
More Than Kale.
Yeah.
And when I was cutting commercials or choosing commercials to be on the show, I thought she's got to be number one.
Yes, she was.
Awesome.
I'm telling you.
Brilliant.
And we need that, what she's offering, because there's so many of us that's obese and
100%. Yes.
So we need to start.
Yes.
And plus, when we reach a certain age, we have to start changing our way of eating.
Yes.
And
it's true. Yes. And when you see her pictures of her food, it's all natural, but it looks like soul food from, what we're used to. I look at them chicken nuggets and she's like, no, they're not chicken, it's cauliflower. It doesn't look like cauliflower.
I haven't tasted it yet, but I just hope it tastes just as good as it looks.
Yeah, she's phenomenal.
She is awesome. I mean, I remember when she first started, because she actually hosted one of the Arts and Authors extravaganzas. She was
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know that.
I would always, find someone to host the events, because I was afraid to go on the mic. This.
Sure.
I was afraid to go on the mic, and I would always, find someone. And she was actually one of my people. That came out. And she's just phenomenal.
She is. Now, and we did a little short commercial with her, and she was a natural on television. She needs her own show.
And
she does.
She's the perfect model.
Yes. Literally. Yes. I could see her being on the Food Network. I could see her.
I can too.
And I said to her,
we're going to talk that into existence.
Yes, absolutely. I said, if this commercial gets out there enough, who knows? You put that on YouTube, somebody picks it up, who knows? Right?
I agree.
Do you remember the guy who sampled Patti LaBelle's sweet potato pie?
Oh yeah, I do. Oh yeah.
And then he got from the internet, from YouTube, he became famous.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
He was like, Patti.
He was wonderful. But you know what? He was entertaining.
Yes,
he can sing. He can really sing. So that's what really, sparked the interest in a lot of people when he went out there and he started singing like her, and I think he was like an impersonator. If I'm not mistaken.
He could do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
do all kinds of stuff, and that all came from YouTube.
Exactly,
all that fame.
Well,
they picked him up
one
from
of
there.
The main reasons why. Now, this podcast, I'm not trying to become famous and all that kind of stuff, even though my husband think I am now. But he tell me, how do you now this was back in the day. This was like many, many years ago. He said, how do you possibly plan an entire event by sitting in front of a computer?
Isn't that amazing?
And I never meet half of these people. Most, I would say
Wow.
80% of the people I never meet until the day of the event.
That's
I have
incredible.
people coming from all over. We started out local, now we're global. So people are
Wow.
coming from all over to come to that event.
It's beautiful.
But it's just getting the word out. And these are several different ways of getting the word out. Your TV,
100%.
the podcast, YouTube is crazy because this is streaming through YouTube and
Yes.
4 different channels on Facebook. It You never know what attention you're
True.
attracting just by doing little things like this.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
So my question to you is, how can somebody get involved? How can they become a guest on your show?
Right. So I start with choosing an author. Anyone who sends me a book that is appropriate for a child K through 12th grade, I review that book as part of the reading quilt, right? My column. And I write up a review of the book. And once that book has been reviewed, then they're welcome to become a guest on my show. We do a lot of our taping in the summer, and we tape in our downtown office, which is beautiful, clean, and sanitized for folks. And it's about an hour and a half that we have a whole lot of fun. Me and the guest and David Fuller, and we just cut up. And then at the end, there's this beautiful show that goes on Philly Cam every Monday at 3:30. It's a lot of fun.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And I've been, when I very first met you, I was like, she's one. She's I was like, she is the one.
Oh, thank you.
I've been following you ever since.
I appreciate that. Same.
It's amazing what you're doing, what you're accomplishing. And I'm just happy to be taking this journey with you.
I appreciate that. We've met some great people along the way. Yes. You being one of them. It's just, it's been a long and lovely and charmed road. Really has. I've met some amazing authors along the way. Yes. Lorraine Carey, like I said, Kwame Alexander, and many other authors who are famous, who we know about. Yes. And you just, Nikki Giovanni. I really, when I met Nikki Giovanni, I really thought she was my sister from childhood. That's how we got along, chilling. Nikki Giovanni will be anybody's friend. You can call her right now if you want to.
She's just something?
Yes, she's so personable.
Yes.
I invited her to speak at a Cabrini University when I was working there. Wow. And she came and she tore the house down.
What?
And rapped Tupac, all of the then put her arm out, and she got a big tattoo that says Thug Life right here. I was like, Nikki, I will get the same tattoo. Don't play with me. It says Thug Life. Anybody, if you do like this, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. She is phenomenal. Yeah.
Well, were you there that year that Omar Tyree came to the Arts and Authors?
No. But let me tell you, is he coming this year?
I don't know.
Call him up.
I don't know.
Omar's my friend.
I would have to
Me and Omar's books came out at the same time.
Really?
His Fly Girl came out the same time as Roxie's Mirage.
My book.
That was my book, right? Nobody knew Omar Tyree. Let me tell you what Omar did. He used to sell books out the back of his car.
I believe it.
Right?
I believe it.
And cute as smooth as he is, you didn't have to say much.
You bought that book.
Like, what you selling, Omar? Oh, hey. So he, again, is an amazing author.
Yes. And he's so down to earth.
He really is.
He has a little chip
on
his shoulder, because of how they're treating him in his celebrity life. So he does, but he's going through like a heck of a lot, and that's really because
I didn't know that.
he was mentioning, and you may be able to find the video from the Arts and Authors when he was talking about it. He was just saying how they didn't treat him fairly and so forth. And Jerome Dickey, he just passed away and stuff. He said that he met him, and and they just looked pretty much down at him.
So I can see that happening.
He felt some kind of way.
Wow, I'm so sorry that happened.
No matter how you look at it, he's still a celebrity in my eyes because of the fact that
absolutely
he has so many popular books, so many bestsellers, and I think he's getting ready to turn Fly Girl into a movie. I don't know when.
That would be amazing.
He has talked about it.
That's great. I wish him the best of luck.
One of the best books ever, and to me, that's like A Way Into Excel. When I first read that book, it was like it was. I was so glad when they made it into a movie. But I know Fly Girl will be just as popular if they put.
I can't wait. I can't wait. That's just like Sister Soldier. Anything she touched became 100% a bestseller.
Yes,
everything she wrote about ought to be
into a movie as well.
Absolutely, The Coldest Winter Ever.
The Coldest Winter and Midnight. What was the
Midnight?
I can see all of them.
I turned my daughter into a Sister Soldier fan. She was like, "Mom, you ever heard of Sister Soldier?" I said, "Did I ever hear of her?
What?
I thought I was Sister Soldier. What? What we doing? I'm Sister Soldier." She had her puffs. I wanted some puffs.
Yes.
She was a cutie. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yeah. The 90s, we had some amazing authors back in the 90s.
We sure did.
Really did. Sure I grew up on some good folks. Yeah.
And you know what? I'm taking it back even a little further. Judy Blume. That was
well, Judy
my very first book.
Yeah, her book is becoming a movie. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. Yeah.
And you know who else? V.C. Andrews.
Oh yeah.
With all the Flowers in the Attic.
All of them. Flowers in the Attic.
I love all those series. The Dollinger series. I loved all of them.
Yeah. I was in a book.
Every single last one of starting at Flowers in the Attic. All
and they were naughty books too. They were.
Yes.
Why were we 14 reading about the flowers in the attic?
I don't know. But listen, I even got my daughter hooked. My middle child.
Yes.
She read books a lot, and she was even hooked.
That's awesome.
Those books.
Yeah, they're good
literacy is, and that's another thing. That's why I had to come back to this.
Yes.
What do you call that name? The literacy doc. What?
Yes. So in 2008, I opened the Salt and Light Learning Institute. It was an after-school program and summer program here in my neighborhood.
Yes.
But it was just for little kids, younger kids, right? But lots of adults asked me to help them sharpen their literacy skills. So in 2015, we rebranded the company, became a 501c3, and named ourselves Literacy University, so that we could attract the adult crowd. And that has worked really well. I've tutored lots of adults in literacy and their English speaking skills, right? And like I said, through the 501c3 organization, I'm able to give out lots of materials, resources, especially for people who are learning the English language.
That is so awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
You're doing a lot of great things.
Thank you.
What's one of the main reasons why I had to have you on the show. And it's like, it's crazy though. But you never even know how far you've come. And I mean, have you ever just walked down like memory lane?
Memory lane.
You know.
I did today when you with you. Because it's making me remember my old TV show. I got to pat myself on the back for that one because that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. We almost never get a chance to sit down and smell the roses Yeah, it's
We
true.
really don't.
Yeah.
And you know, that's something that I hardly ever do because I'm always, you know, looking out for the next one.
Yeah,
You know, how can
absolutely.
I get your information out there? How can I promote this? How can I,
Oh,
because
yes.
I, you know, the founder of the Arts and Authors Extravaganza, it's like I feel like that's my job.
Yeah.
It's my job to do these things. Plus, I enjoy it. I enjoy listening to everyone's story.
That's so great.
You know, I
Hmm.
enjoy listening to it. So I know there's people out there that will enjoy listening to it. Plus, there's always something that you can learn from everybody.
Yes.
Everybody.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
you know, and that's what one of the most wonderful things about what we're doing, what you're doing,
Definitely.
as far
Thank
as
you.
promoting through TV and you know, even with your books. And I believe I have the Roxy Mirage. I have that one from
Kidding. Ah,
years ago.
so
Um,
wonderful.
I want to get the other one too.
Thank
Oh,
you.
and going back to what we were talking about as far as like our households, we have to start promoting putting libraries inside, especially our our houses.
Yeah.
Put it starting off with little libraries because if you don't have the books around, how do you expect the
Sure.
kids to read them?
100%. Yeah, yeah. A print-rich home is what I wanted to make sure my children grew up with. I actually grew up in a house with a library. A lot of people are like, "You're lying." It's not that we had the reason that we had a library is because the houses in this town were built with libraries. They didn't have family rooms. They were actual
Yes.
libraries. These are the homes that the engineers lived in who built the railroads here in
Yes.
Lansdowne and Philadelphia and surrounding areas. So the houses didn't have family rooms. So the
Right.
house I grew up with had a library. This is how I know because the walls were filled with bookshelves.
That's
You could
amazing.
only put books on those shelves. You couldn't
Right.
put a TV in there.
Right.
So that's what my parents did. We had books surrounding us in this
Wow.
library. So I would go to school and I would say, "Oh, I was in the library reading my book." And they'd be like, "You are so full of yourself." But it's true. But it's true though. It was true. It's true. It's true. Uh, so
Oh
that's how
my
I grew
goodness.
up. Reading
Yes.
was super important to my parents. Yeah,
Yeah.
super important.
And
Mhm.
I to my you know what? My mom never stressed us to read, but I'm telling you, it came from my dad.
Wow,
I
see?
know it did. I
Yeah.
know it
Mhm.
did. Because just like they say genetics, like people just pick up habits. I wasn't even around my dad that much. But
And that
I looked at
impression
his
stayed
face.
with you. That
Yeah.
impression stayed with you.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's just crazy. But getting back to the books, you can start off with a little tiny bookshelf
Yes.
in your houses. Just a bookshelf if you don't have a big, large room or something like that, or a big closet or something. A
Yep.
bookshelf.
Hmm.
Get it from Walmart.
That's all that
But
you got to
we
do.
have to have, I believe I was just talking to my daughter Brianna about it, having a bookshelf in the house because too many of our children are getting away from reading books. They're getting away
Yes.
from when I heard my grandkids didn't even have homework, I'm like, what the heck? I said,
That's a
you
new
better
thing.
create some homework for them. I said, you better go and create it.
Yeah,
Go
create the
do
homework.
like really?
Yes. Hmm. That's the new thing that they want to give children more time with their families. So they're cutting homework out, right? Hmm.
No, no, no. That is
It's
not
true.
giving kids more time with their families. To
No,
me, that's causing them to have more time out in the street because the mom and dad ain't even
100%.
home.
And on digital appliances, right?
And
So they're
exactly.
on their phones, on the
Yes.
iPad, on the this, that, and the third,
Because
and
they're
not
letting
in
the
a book.
phones and stuff teach them. They're letting the TVs teach them.
Mhm.
They're not letting the the teachers are not. Look, let me tell you.
Right. That's what I went to Oxford University to speak about is illiteracy. There are 800 million people in the
I believe
world
you.
who are illiterate.
When people come into my store and I tell them to initial the iPad or initial the pen pad, and these kids don't even know what the word initial mean. Are you kidding
Oh,
me? They don't even know how to sign their darn names. You tell them to sign,
yes,
they print in their names. Really?
correct. No, it's true.
It's like you
Right.
don't know how to cursive,
And
right?
you're only talking about reading as literacy. What
Yes.
about financial literacy?
Oh,
Right? What
that's it.
about reading a room? What about facial
Yes,
literacy?
exactly.
What about what about emotional literacy? They are
Exactly.
devoid in a whole lot of things. But I tell
Yes.
people, especially my own kids, I didn't have to live all that stuff. I read about it.
No,
I
exactly.
didn't have to live drugs.
When I
I read about
yeah,
drugs.
when I hear them talking about this ain't antisocial and all, I'm like, what the heck? Or depressed, or oh, they
Mhm.
got this, they got that. Yeah, right. Spend a day or a week with my grandma. Listen, she'll knock all that out of you.
Oh,
You'll be
knock the
straight
depression out of you. I'm laughing.
like, are you kidding me?
It's
Like
true.
these are things that we never heard of. I'm serious.
Take
We
your
never heard.
depressed behind and wash them dishes. That's
Yeah.
what you gonna do.
Like, really?
Yeah, yeah.
I ain't never heard
No,
this in
you're
my
right.
life.
Yeah, our generation really didn't have a lot of time to think about our mental health journey.
Right,
We didn't.
right. Even though it is a real issue
It's
now with
real.
all this COVID stuff going on,
It's real. Hmm.
and it's really real, and plus it wasn't real when it came to our society, like the
Sure,
Black people
sure,
society. But now it's
sure.
becoming more and more of a everybody thing. Everybody.
Well, it's true. I joke because and I laugh because my mom used to say nobody cares about your feelings.
Yep.
That's how I grew up. She
Yep.
used to tell me that every day. Nobody cares about your
Yep.
feelings. That's it, period. So keep doing what you're supposed to be doing
That's
every
it.
single day. And the other thing she would tell me is, who are you not to go through some hard times?
That's it.
I mean, they put Jesus on the cross.
Yes.
So if that could happen to Jesus, you could go through some hard times.
Exactly.
That's just the way it
Exactly.
is. So that's our generation. But I do respect the young people who are understanding their mental health journey and taking steps, right, to
I
stay
agree.
mentally healthy.
Healthy. Yes.
I'm just saying that's not how I grew up.
It's not how I grew up either. Either. Even though we're
Yeah.
staying mindful of it, because even my just put it this way, I got so upset with my daughter one day, my oldest daughter, because my grandson, he was like, he didn't feel like going to school that day. And I told my daughter, I was like, Brittany, I was like, what do you mean he don't feel like going to school? I'm like, I said, look,
Yeah.
you did
Hmm.
not. I said, when have I ever?
Yeah.
Listen, my two daughters, they're 31, 32, the oldest two.
Mhm.
I can literally count on one hand how many days they missed
They
of
were off.
school.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
I don't
Yeah.
even think they missed a day. You know
Right.
why? Because
Yeah.
my mom would tell us,
Yeah.
go to school,
Hmm.
try it, and if you feel
Hmm.
sick, I'll come and get you. But you
Right.
going to go try.
You gonna go try, at least try. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't think my daughters ever
That's
missed a
true.
day of school.
And see?
But I had to pick them up a couple of times, but
Right.
they never physically missed. I was like, what the heck is going on? Oh, he need a mental stress day. Get the heck out of here. I'm like, really?
It's funny. It's funny. I respect it and I understand it, but it's funny for me to think that I would have asked my mom, "Can I take off from school?" And I didn't have an arm cut off. Like it's I just it would not have happened.
It
It would
wouldn't happen.
not have happened. I would
But
not
this
have
is
been
a
able to stay
whole
home.
new generation of
It
kids.
is. It is. It is.
Even
But
Gigi, my 18-year-old, never missed a day of school.
wow.
never missed a day of school.
It's
So it's
incredible.
like, I just don't understand this generation. Like my grandkids are, I think, well, the oldest two are 11. The youngest is 6.
Yeah.
No, 5.
Mhm.
It's
Wow.
within that time frame. It's
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
I never,
Yeah.
I'm like,
And
it's
we
better you
experienced
guys take care of
bullying.
them, because if they were here, it will be totally different.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. Right.
Because
Yeah.
they don't even look at it the way that they were raised. It's like, did
No.
you guys forget?
Well, they have so many more challenges because they are, like we just said, they
Yeah,
are inundated with information and people contacting them all day long.
true.
All day long. There is a way for somebody to reach them, right?
Yes,
To change their psyche somehow
true,
just by looking at a text on their phone.
true.
Once I got home from school, no one could touch me. No one. They couldn't come to the house. They couldn't call the phone because my mom
Yes,
would pick it up and be like, she's not available," and hang it up.
yes.
So I was literally, when I say in a bubble,
Bubble.
I was in a bubble. I
Yeah,
was in a bubble.
pretty
I
much.
was, and I know that you understand this. My
Yes,
parents were overprotective, but
yep.
you can't even
I was too.
overprotect kids now.
You
You
can't.
can't protect them.
You can't.
No, because once they open their computer and their phone, now that's how people can get to
Yep.
them and
And
change their psyche.
it's funny that you even say that, because I think that was my parents' main thing, is protecting me from the society, the
Sure.
people, the
Hmm.
drugs, because we lived in North Philly. We
Okay.
lived in
Yeah.
North Philly. I was
Yeah.
5 or 6, I think it was.
Yeah.
But we
Hmm.
only lived there for like probably a year or two, because
Yeah.
I was born in Riverside, New Jersey. But the thing is, we were exposed to a lot that
Right.
that my mom was trying to protect us from.
Right.
So
Right.
so in reality, we didn't. People look at me like right now, where when I first met my husband, he's from Camden, my third one,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's from Camden. And people, he said, well, you don't know what weed smell like. No, I
I
don't.
didn't. Not as a kid, I
My
didn't.
mom
I'll
never
tell you.
had us around it.
Yes.
Do I
Yep.
know
It's
what
true.
cocaine look like? No, these are things that we probably picked up when I left my mom's house, because they were so overprotective.
Yep.
So, and then I moved to Camden, but we lived in Camden. So we were
Yeah.
in Camden. I graduated from Woodrow Wilson High School. No one
Oh,
would even know that I graduated from Woodrow Wilson High School until I told them. Yeah, I
right.
even got friends. Now, mind you, I went there since from 1985, and I graduated in 1989. Even some of my classmates don't even know I went to school there,
Wow.
because I'm serious. I am so darn serious. It's ridiculous. But guess what? I did.
Yes. How about it? Oh,
But
you are so
that
funny.
goes to show you how overprotective our parents were.
For sure. Yeah, and
You
it's not
know,
like that now. You
it's
can't
not.
create a bubble for children anymore
Yeah,
because the
but
bubble is
they're learning so
pierced by
much.
all kinds of information coming in,
Too much
constant.
information.
Mhm.
Too much information.
Overload. It's an
It
overload.
is. It really is. Now, what
Overload.
do you have coming up next? What are you doing?
Well, I'm excited because the textbook and workbook for turning the page has come out, right? And
Woo.
that and I'm excited because it's these two books that have been catching the attention of the universities who are teaching pre-service teachers to choose multicultural literature in a very thought-provoking way, right?
Mm.
Trying to choose multicultural literature that is inclusive and celebrates diversity. So lots of universities are calling me in, hey, can you speak here or there, and help our teachers understand how to choose quality multicultural literature,
Yes.
because many of the books that we would like children to read are being banned, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's my job to teach teachers how to kind of work around that
Yes.
and begin to discover literature that will not be banned.
Yes.
And I've created a rubric, a kind of a system, a
Mm-hmm.
check system that will assure that your book that you choose is going to go through, that it won't be banned, right?
Yes.
We're unfortunately, lots of books are being banned because some of those books are not appropriate for mixed company anyway, right?
Really.
We have to be careful what we bring into the classroom. I'm
Yes.
not a fan of banning books. I'm a fan of carefully choosing quality literature for the classroom that's a mixed company classroom, right?
Yes.
Um, Girls and boys, people who don't identify certain
The gender.
gender, right? We have to be very careful of what may trigger some children,
Right.
and that's what I advocate, being very careful how we choose literature and what we put in front of our children in school.
Yes.
Yeah,
I find you all have the toughest
so
job
tough. It's so
ever.
tough. Mhm.
Ever.
So tough.
And
So tough.
it's sad too, because I actually just saw this video um where the teacher was actually beating down a child because the
Yeah,
little
I've
girl
seen
hit
it.
her. The kids are, I don't know, they're not the same kids anymore. They're disrespectful. They think they're on the same level as us. They, I mean, I've even come in contact with people with at my store, where the children say, "Oh, hun, I have children that's almost twice your age. What do you mean, hun? I'm a grandmom. I'm a mom.
That is a
Hun,
very common situation. Very
it's like
common.
I'm not your age." But what got me with that video was, I feel the teacher was protecting herself, defending herself or whatever.
Mhm.
Even though the hit may not have been, it may not have hurt her, but it's just the simple fact that this child felt that she can raise her hand at
Oh,
a teacher.
sure. Yeah. Hope that never happens to me. Well,
Why? What will happen?
I used to, when I taught in the inner city, listen, I would tell the kids all the time, I hope you don't think I'm here by accident. Like I'm
Yes.
I'm I'm here in these inner city classrooms because I knew how to speak to people and I knew how
Yes.
to treat children. You got to start, if you start with love,
Yes.
you'll
I
finish with
agree.
love.
I
Start
agree.
there, right? But when I first started in North Philly schools, I was like, listen, I'm not the one. I was talking a big
Yes.
game, Kimberly, but I would
But,
tell them I'm not the
but
one.
I
I'm
believe it
not the
though,
one.
because here's my logic.
Yeah.
If you think that you're on my level, if you think that you're grown enough to put your hands
Mhm,
on a grown person, you're
mhm.
grown enough to take that beat down.
Well, that's true. And so lots of teachers are getting in hot water for retaliation. Um, but once again, back to reading the room. I'm able to read kids, right?
Yes.
After 30 years in these classrooms, many years being in the inner city classroom, I'm able to
Yes.
read these kids, and not just inner city kids, right? I've taught other
Exactly.
kids outside of the city who are also hostile because
Yes.
kids who need the most love ask for it in unlovable
Yes,
ways.
they do.
And
Yes, they do.
so once I realized that, then I began to use the child psychology that I learned in college, right?
Exactly. And that
So,
helps.
and that helped a lot. That helped
Yeah.
a lot.
So here's
Yeah.
another question, because I can ask you this because you are a teacher and you do teach. What's the difference from them saying that they want to arm the teachers. What's the difference if they want to arm the teachers opposed to them fighting a student?
Nothing. There's no
Thank
difference.
you. There's
It's the
no
worst
difference.
idea ever.
It is.
Worst idea ever.
Because
Now
they're just
remember,
gonna say they're defending themselves.
absolutely. And when they say arm the teacher, they don't mean guns
Walk
on
around
the.
carrying guns.
No,
Oh,
I
okay.
think they're going to start with guns in the classroom being locked up in a safe, so that you have access to a weapon in case
But
your
why?
school is
I think
infiltrated. It's a bad idea.
very bad.
It's a bad idea. So I would think that we would be very careful before we implement something like that, right? But that was the main idea, is that if your school is infiltrated by violence or a gunman,
Exactly.
then you as the teacher can help defend yourself and also save the children. I still don't think it's a good idea.
To per se use it against the kids.
Correct. Right. Yeah. And so I think we have to rethink the way we the idea behind guns and what's the purpose and how do we save our children. Doing a lockdown drill.
Yeah.
They're scary, but they're necessary, right?
Yes.
And it teaches children how to defend themselves using a variety of things that are in the classroom, like the desks. Start with that.
Yeah.
Start with the desks. Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
And start giving children backpacks that are bulletproof, that they can wear on their front instead of their back.
That would be nice. That would be absolutely. I like that idea.
Flip the thing over and let's do our drill to get out of the building.
I agree. I like that.
You need to market that, Kimberly. Market that.
I know, right?
Flip that backpack. Yes.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing with us.
Pleasure.
This has been a great conversation.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
And I'm so proud of you. I'm so glad that you're continuing to do what you do. Keep promoting that TV because that's awesome.
I appreciate it.
That is awesome. And do you have any last and final words for our guests? Oh, and where can we find your work?
So I am in all bookstores globally and locally and on Amazon. You can especially find my Turning the Page books on Rowman and Littlefield website, published by Rowman and Littlefield. But all of my books can be found at all bookstores and online, right? And you can also request a signing of my book if you write to me at literacyuniversity@gmail.com.
And all these websites are, I think I listed all the websites.
Awesome.
If I'm not mistaken.
Great. Thank you. Yes.
So anyone who is interested in, either using your services or reading your books, they have all the information for them.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
I'm on Facebook at Dr. Rachel Slaughter. I'm on LinkedIn as Dr. Rachel Slaughter, and on Instagram as Literacy Doc.
So awesome.
Thank
you. I thank you so much for being here. I thank anyone else that, is still online with us. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section, and Dr. Rachel or I will answer those questions for you. But
Wonderful.
I thank you all so much. Pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Kimberly.
You all have a fantastic night. Thank you.